Okay, I think we are live. Yes, we are alive, very much alive. Um, Hello there. I'm very happy to be doing this. It's been, if you don't know what I'm doing, I will be playing scratches, not just scratches, but the first two teasers as well. Oops, hang on. Uh, there's so much I need to keep in mind while doing this. Setting this live stream has been a nightmare. My respect for people who do live streams has increased quite a few notches after this. I need to keep in mind the game. I need to talk about the game. Keep an eye on the chat window and the streaming software. Um, and yeah, apparently people are telling me that everything is working okay, so thank you. About that, please feel free to interact. Something that I don't like about this is I feel like I'm talking to a computer and I get no feedback from the other side. I'm not sure if you are bored or happy or laughing, so feel free to just use the chat screen and ask questions. I'm really happy to answer all your questions, so I'll try to make sure I don't miss any of them. Okay, cool. As a quick warm-up, we are going to try the first Scratches teaser, which was released in 2003. I have the box of the game right here, the first retail edition. I don't have the Director's Cut edition. The publisher never sent it. But I will be playing the Director's Cut, the Steam version. Okay. So let's hope this works, because the first teaser was coded in a really crappy homemade engine, and I'm not sure if the full screen will work as it should. We'll see. Okay. I hope you're seeing this. I think you are. It bothers me that the stream is actually 1 minute old, so I need to adjust my mind to a quite lengthy lag. It's just, the very crappy connections we have in Argentina, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so wow, yeah, this is a blast from the past. It's been literally ages since I played this. As you can see, the presentation of the game was nothing like the final game. But I was surprised to see just how many details from this teaser actually made it into the final game. Well, if you remember Scratches, I'm sure you're going to remember the African mask. Okay, it's not the same African mask, but you can see the theme was already present here. And some of these letters actually are present in the final game unchanged. So we're talking about Halloween 2003. Oops. About 3 years before the game was made it to the hands. Oh, I should have closed Twitter. Damn. Okay. Newbie mistake. So anyway, some players were surprised that when you could actually leave this attic as soon as you started playing. The idea is to give you as much freedom to explore the place and just leave anytime you wanted. So there's a puzzle here. It's a pretty interesting puzzle because it foreshadows in a way the sort of environmental puzzles you are going to see in the actual game. Okay, as soon as I leave the teaser, I'm going to shut down Twitter. I promise. So as you can see, you can barely see what's here, but I have grabbed the key. That's because the lighting revealed the key. If you don't, if I try to grab the key before the lighting appears, I can't. So I need to make sure, the player sees that there's a key in here. Oh yeah, it's a pretty nice musical box. This actually was done by by an old friend of mine called Santiago. He actually developed an adventure called Sophia's Depth. You may know it, and we included this fancy musical box in the game. Okay. Many of these objects appeared in the actual attic, and okay, this is an important piece of information. This sets up the whole, the main plot of the game, right? The murder of Mrs. Blackwood. Again, this new newspaper appears just like this in the final game, so I'm literally surprised as to just how much was devised before we actually began working on the game. Just keep in mind that after this teaser we began from scratch, pun intended. So I'm going to talk more about the story when we are playing the actual game. For now I want to finish this teaser. Done. Okay, sooner or later something bad had to happen. It's the way things are. Just when you think it couldn't be any better, something happens that grabs you off guard and dramatically changes the course of your life. Most of the time you try to anticipate it and prepare yourself for anything, but this happened too soon for comfort, and the minute after you were irremediably trapped. Now you can't let it go and must face it. You have to solve the mystery. It doesn't matter if your life depends on it, or it will torment you for the rest of your days, because you know how you are, and you won't forget it. And there isn't going to be another chance. You're trapped and you can't do anything about it. If only there was a way out, a cure for this obsession, because it haunts you. It's everywhere, stalking you with every step you take, hiding around that corner, breathing in some distant locked room, waiting. It's evil, it's the shadow of past events. Something horrible has happened here, and time has forgotten. But it keeps waiting. It all began with that letter you got from your friend. And this is the letter from Jerry, where he tells Michael that he found a suitable house to spend a few days and complete his novel. The writing here was admittedly quite cliched and hammy, but it was, mostly meant to set up an interesting mystery. An interesting story for players. I was very surprised as how well received was this teaser. This is the reason I actually quote a full-time job and began working on this game, thanks to the warm reception from fans, from adventure game fans, and just how happy they were with this new adventure game. That was the first Scratches teaser. Oh, actually, okay. We'll talk about this later, but again, a very old reference at a crucial moment in the story. Everything was laid out already. The whole plot was designed, and this is why we were able to drop interesting clues from the actual game here. And wow, these graphics are so crappy. There's actually an error here with this blue sheet. The berries colliding with the sheet. Well, anyway, and that's it for the first teaser. Well, that's it. See you next time. Bye. Oops. Okay, let's go. Actually, since we are reminiscing old times, let me show you something. This is, hang on, this is really interesting. I mean, I had completely forgotten about this. While looking for all material of the game, I stumbled upon this very early text, and it is about scratches. The file was named scratches.txt, and it says, in this section of the tunnel there's an opening in the west wall. It seems to have collapsed, as you can see piles of debris scattered on the floor. The opening is big enough to allow passage, and you can see naked, I wasn't sure if that was the right word, naked rock beyond. A cold breeze, again corriente in Spanish, a cold breeze of air is coming through it. This cold tunnel of naked rock runs as long as your eyes can see, before Ngushirse being engulfed by the darkness. The flickering frame of your torch casts shadows that dance on the walls. Shiny walls because of moisture, damp walls. The thought that no human being has set foot upon this place since immemorial times crosses your mind. This immense room has its walls covered with endless shelves of books. Brown, black, blue, and green are mostly the colors of the dusty covers dressing the walls that extends to the ceiling, con forma de cúpula, with form of a vaulted ceiling. 4 arches running from each corner of the ceiling until the center end in a chain holding a huge araña. It's a chandelier. I didn't know the word for chandelier back then. Surprisingly, 8 candles are lit. 4 rows or tables with several chairs, and that's where the text ends. I think if it's about scratches, then it probably has to do with the ending of the game, but an alternate take on it. But I think it's actually about, because it reads like a text adventure, right? So I think it was about another game I was going to call Scratches. We will never know, because I have sincerely forgot all about it. So let's try the second teaser now. Second teaser, okay. I hope the stream is working okay. If you notice any ugly technical issues, please let me know. I'm reading everything you're writing. Okay. I don't know if you play this one. Check out that fancy visual effect. I'm not sure how we did it, but maybe I think it was done with Cinema 4D. Okay. Cool. So again, I just tried this an hour ago for the first time. I didn't even recall that that introduction sequence with the flying logo, and I was again very surprised at how many details from the game made it into this teaser. In fact, there are some dead giveaway clues as to what happens in the game, so I'm going to revisit a bit of this afterwards. I was determined to pay a visit to the crypt and set up the final resting place of the body, no matter how disgusting that task was. So we don't know who is this person, but he needs to set up the final resting place of a body, and we don't know what body that is. The winding path to the crypt was quiet as a tomb. It wasn't until later when I realized how appropriate was that fog. Again, the writing wasn't very good at this point. And here you see the crypt as you may have never seen it before. You can also see a very early take on the moving skies effect. It's just a a very faint fog on top of a backdrop, so nothing really impressive here. The crypt was actually the second location we started working on after the first attic, so it's quite a good jump in quality. We were learning very fast back then. So we're just going in. So much for the sturdy log, but if you recall, that log is quite sturdy in the final game. Oh, I love this soundtrack by Cellar of Rats. I will be talking a lot about Cellar of Rats in a while. This theme didn't make it to the game. I don't understand the purpose of that grate. Clearly, the crypt inhabitants weren't in need of fresh air. What a macabre thought. I vaguely remember the family tradition where the husband was placed in the upper coffin and the wife in the lower one. Or was it the other way around? Here I start making use of a plot device that I love, and it's used a lot in Scratches and also in Asylum, which is the unreliable narrator. He's a human being. He's not sure of what he's telling to you, the players, so you can't trust his judgment. As you know, the position of the coffins and if the husband goes up or down is crucial to determine which body is in this crypt afterwards. This is empty. Another one of James' delusional fantasies. At first I thought the figurine was made of ceramic, but its sticky feel told me otherwise. Okay. The figurine is made of wax, so now we are going to make use of it for a puzzle in a bit. And the letter. Okay, wow, that's the font is very small. But this letter appears in a very similar form in the final game. This is the letter that Blackwood is writing in the church. So we're going to discuss it afterwards. It just, again, tells a bit of the story, how this person, you don't know who he is at this point, this person lost his mind. He's asking we, the players, to fulfill a wish. Poor James, instead of facing reality and assume the consequences of our unforgivable actions, he forced himself into concocting a complex plot to fool his mind for the sins committed. I should have been more careful. I'm not sure if this transition was in the final game. And here this is too dark, and we have another feature of environmental puzzle. Okay, we need to make a hole in the wax figurine. Now we put the string from the letter to use as time they got the figurine, but it wouldn't work that way. Okay. Right. I tried drilling the wax figurine, but it needs to be hot. So it is hot now. We make the hole. We put the string on the wax figurine, and okay, no, I first need to. That's a bit of lousy game design, I'm sorry. Now we place it here, and there was light. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, if you have a look at this coffin, I was terrified by the presence of that coffin. I couldn't even look at it, and if you play the game you know why, what is the meaning of that coffin. The most important members through many generations of the Blackwood family were resting in this place. And here there was a really odd reference here. Let me... Okay, now. I thought there was a mention about a cat at some point, but we removed it. I can't remember. But anyway, there was a teaser, right? So it's not entirely consistent with the final game, because if you may recall, this character left the body in one of the upper coffins. So yeah. Everything okay by now? So let's go to the main course now, which is scratches. Okay. So I'm going to be talking a lot now, and I probably won't be reading every single document that appears in the game, otherwise we're going to spend many hours doing this. But I have some notes here of stuff I want to tell you. Some thoughts about the menu. Yes, I actually have some thoughts about the menu. It was a bit of an accident, this, because I wasn't planning to put the moving clouds here. I just wanted a flat rendering of the house, and when we tried in the engine, the clouds effect were enabled, and I thought, hey, this looks rather good. We can actually leave it like that. But it was a happy accident. But the really interesting thing about the menu is the music by Cellar of Rats. I'm going to call him Vlad. He was just Vlad, and Cellar of Rats was his brand name. He's no longer doing music for video games or music in general, but I'm still in touch with him, and a lot of credit goes to Vlad for the Scratches experience, right? This music, for example, was his complete call. You know, people, when we released Scratches, people were just expecting a sort of haunted house adventure game, right? But the menu promised something else, because that African drumming in the background tantalizes you with a different mystery. It was a kind of unexpected, especially for people who were, you know, just looking to play a haunted house adventure game. What has that African drumming have to do with the actual game? You want to know what. And this is, you know, we did this a lot in the game, like tempt you players with clues and stuff, you know, intriguing stuff happening in this house. Oh, before I forget, I'm playing the game in Windows mode, so I need to enable the alternate control. And we're going to play the Director's Cut edition. So it's a very simple introduction, really. Not much happens, and I think, you know, it was a decision pretty much like that. What should we do for the intro? Yeah, let's show pictures, and that's it. There's no funny story behind the intro, sorry. But I can tell you, I think this was inspired by a slasher film from the 80s called Humongous. The title sequence of that movie also shows someone going through a family album, and as time goes by, the photographs become darker and more disturbing. That doesn't happen here. It's more simpler. But it is important in some ways because the location appears in the game. The photographer has a crucial role, and that is a pretty important picture showing the basement. And again, the masterful work by Vlad. He made an amazing music for that intro.
Manor one cold Saturday morning amidst a thick veil of fog. The weather didn't look good, and there was an unnatural calm surrounding the area. Yet I soon became entangled with the place.
You have no idea how difficult it was to render this sequence with our crappy computers back then. But it gets even worse. And here we arrive in scratches. Okay, so the dates. No meaning behind the dates. I just thought October, the month of Halloween, and I decided to use some days in that month. The cloudy sky above seemed rather unsettling and almost made me lose my balance. I felt a curious urge to run for shelter. That line is my attempt to emulate Lovecraft. There's a very similar line in the color Out of Space, and it's my small tribute and my acknowledgement of the influence behind the game. So, technology. Let's talk technology. As you realize, I guess, this is not actual 3D. This is a panoramic rotation. I think it was first introduced by Cryo in 93 with Lost Eden or something like that. And I think it's a great format for adventure games because you don't need the dynamic motion. You don't need to run or walk around too much. You just need to explore the environments in a relaxing, peaceful manner, and it also allows you to have some really detailed graphics because what you are seeing is a 3D projection of flat textures, right? So what we just do with this technology is render 6 textures. That would be front, left, back, right, up, and down, and we project them into a 3D cube. Because of the math, it just works. You don't see any distortion. At least with this method, you get to have 360 degrees rotation and no distortion at all. But because the graphics are so intensive, I mean, all those trees you are seeing are actual geometry. We were poor back then. I'm still poor, but I have at least a better computer these days. But our equipment was lousy, and rendering this garden was by far the most difficult and annoying task of the whole game. Let me tell you why. We didn't have enough memory to just pull this off. So I needed to render each one of these textures in sections, right? So first, this path without any of these trees. Then the trees on the left without the path of these trees. Then all the tree line in the back and these trees, and then compose all of this with Photoshop or PaintShop. I think I was using PaintShop back then. We're talking about I think this garden has 8 nodes, so each one of these is a node. 8 nodes per 6 textures per I don't know how many sections for each one of those textures. It was crazy, by far the worst aspect of the development of Scratches. And another thing I want to comment on is the skies, right? It was a pretty cool effect for the time. You know, the main criticism of first-person adventures was that they are too static. And you know, I thought, okay, the sky is something we can replicate across the whole game, and it looks good enough. So it was, you know, one of the main features of the game, graphic-wise. But in the original version, you don't see this reddish, evilish sky, because I didn't have the code to do you know, color shifts in the sky. I wanted to have this because, as we will learn afterwards, the passage of time is a crucial aspect of the game. This is something that it was inspired by Dark Seed, how time passes by, and you know, I wanted to give players some sort of feeling that things are changing around them, and yeah, as you know, spending time inside this manner. So changing the weather was seemed like a good idea for that. And okay, the inventory. It's not very elegant. It's a very simple inventory, but it did the job. Actually, let me go back a few footsteps, because I think either my mind is playing tricks on me. Huh. Okay. Okay, we have a bug here. I didn't realize about this. Okay, it's not a bug, a very serious bug, but you were supposed to grab your typewriter case from your car, and for some reason in the Director's Cut edition you already appear holding the case, so that's one less complexity for players. You're welcome. Okay, let's open the door. And this is a very important moment. I think it embodies the whole game. The first moment you enter in Blackwood Manor, it's like everything, it's like the entire game puts itself in motion with the music, the graphics, the environment. Yeah, that's Jerry calling. We're going to talk with him in a few moments, so just let the phone ring for a while. I want to talk to you about the house now. When people ask me what's the most important aspect of horror game, I think everything, you know, everything. Just the graphics, how the music goes with the graphics. You know, when we created the soundtrack for the game, I recall Blab even took into account the colors in each location to make sure the music was a good fit. Okay, let's talk to Jerry, because he's going to be so annoying.
Hello?
Michael, it's me.
Hey, Jerry. It's good to hear your voice.
I see that piece of junk you got there is working.
My thoughts exactly. I was afraid it'd fall apart as soon as I laid my fingers on it.
So how did you find everything? Do you like the place?
It's...
I love one of the comments by
I'm very
Joachim.
impressed, that's
You sound odd.
He says that when the music was turned off, he always felt unease, like, I guess, a sense of expectation, like something is going to happen. So
So you do like it?
the music, especially these nice tracks
I'm telling you, I'm going to turn
by
this
Blab,
place into a horror story.
it's an interesting description. They were like good company as you explore the manor.
Well, I just got here. Let me have a look around, and I'll get back to you if I find anything strange.
Excellent. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, in case you didn't know that Michael is John Bell, an excellent actor who actually does comedy, but we thought his voice was a great fit for the game. And Jerry is Jonathan Vokes, of course, the creator of the Darkfall series and one of the big inspirations behind the game. So it was great to finally get in touch with Jonathan, and even better to have him playing a character in Scratches. I would like to tell you though that I think John Bell did a great and amazing job in the role of Michael, but my original, my crazy, my wish list for my big point in the wish list for Scratches was have Christopher Lee do the voice of Michael, who was supposed to be an older person in the game. And I went as far as getting in touch with the representative of Mr. Lee a year or 2 years ago, I think, a few months before he passed away. So yeah, that's something that will never happen now, but one of my biggest dreams for the game that never came to be. I mean, besides that, I'm extremely happy with Scratches. I think everything, I wouldn't change anything about the game other than Christopher Lee if he said yes and didn't charge a fortune, right? Okay, so back in action. Let's go upstairs, because otherwise Michael will begin complaining about his big luggage, which is too heavy. How did you cast the voice actors? A question. Just, there's a funny story about that. I'm going to tell it it's about Barbara. I'm going to talk about it. Well, Jonathan, it was almost natural to ask him. I mean, it was, I just asked him and he said yes. And John Bell, I think he actually reached us first and offered his services to us. And that's it. There's no one else in the game. Okay, so first we're going to leave the luggage here. Now, I'm going to admit that the first day in the game, it's really crappy. I mean, it's badly designed, because I wanted to have players like okay, the type, leave my typewriter stuff. Okay, that was horrible. See, that is horrible. I don't recall the full sequence, and I actually failed. I actually developed the game, and I didn't realize what the game was asking me. So the game was asking me to put the luggage in, to store the case of the typewriter somewhere else, but the message it was giving me was not appropriate. And this is a very common mistake in a newbie mistake as a game designer in the entire first day of Scratches. I wanted to have players become acquainted with the house and see specific things, visit specific locations, so the entire day is just forcing them into doing the things I wanted as a designer. As we're going to see, the second day works better, because I wasn't holding their hands anymore. I just dropped a few hints, a few clues, and left them to their own devices. But the first day, it's just like this: do this. So I know we lost many players because of this design. Okay, I'm going to just grab a few things now. Oh, this is creepy. This is the result of Googling truly disturbing stuff, and there's lots of it in the house. Okay, so we are just going to grab a few things from here, my pen. We're going to read the numbers to call Barbara, our assistant. I always thought, is it okay for a writer to have an assistant? I wonder for years if that was a good, call for the story. And turns out, yes, it is standard practice. Writers, especially well-known celebrities that have to deal with lots of fan mail, yes, they do have like secretaries or assistants. Okay, this is Jerry's letter, the same one that appeared in the first teaser, and it just tells Michael that he was able to find this old manor for him, and the game is takes place in Rothbury, and I had to do a lot of research for that. I wanted to have a I wanted the game to take place in England because of the many inspirations, Hammer films. Even Lovecraft himself was very fond of England, and I thought it was the right atmosphere for the game. But I wanted a really far away location, something a location that is even for British people, old and relatively unknown, and Rothbury fit the bill. Interestingly, Rothbury, I don't recall the details now, but there was a prominent engineer living in Rothbury, which became the basis. I mean, not the basis. I used some of the real life details for the story of James Blackwood, even though he was already part of the Scratches story. I remember the exact moment when the African team of the game became a big part in the story. I want to tell you about it afterwards. And there's nothing more worthwhile mentioning in the letter. He mentions the National Trust. I needed like a state entity that regulates buildings or locations that become, how do you say, like belong to the public. Someone, an entity that decides when a location becomes historical and should belong to the public, to be enjoyed by the public. And I realized about the National Trust in England. It exists, so we make use of it afterwards for a key moment in the story. So anyway, Jerry's business card with his number, and we grab the matches, and that's it. We leave the guest room. Someone is mentioning Luca Pirillis mentioning Rhiannon. Yes, I know Rhiannon. I know the developer of Rhiannon, Noel Bratton, who may actually voice a character in Asylum. Great game, Rhiannon. People telling me that Scratches became inspiration for their own games, theirs. Sounds great. I want to try that. And it's like that. It's an endless chain of events. Someone inspires you, and then you inspire other people. And I'm deeply honored to hear that people have been inspired by Scratches. I truly mean it. I'm surprised how the game has touched so many people during so many years. So let's go here. And okay, this is probably the most infamous puzzle in the entire game, and I want to explain my reasoning behind. I'm going to talk a lot about this puzzle because it's crucial to the whole idea behind Scratches. I mean the whole approach to design. Let me. I actually forgot to shut down Twitter. Hang on. Whoa! Okay. So anyway, those bases. The first time we see these bases, we don't see anything, you know, just several bases of African craftsmanship, an ordinary base. You can open the curtains, and you know, my intention here was to I don't know, have players not paying attention to them, just think they are ordinary bases. But there's a problem with this puzzle. Sorry, no, Noel Bratton did not voice any character in Scratches. Noel Bratton will voice a character in Asylum. So the thing with those bases is, notice this location. Notice that it's just furniture and a key holder, right? But there are any keys. So my idea as a designer of this puzzle was to make players note, you know, pay attention and be very observant of the details in the game. So if you look at this picture, you can see there's a vase, one of the vases we saw before, but it's no longer here, and it's a bit faint, but you can notice a key here as well. So the idea is that you associate the vase with the key, and you're like, aha, let's check out the vases again. So we go and see the vases. So we can only do this now after looking at that photograph, and that is a nasty trigger. I admit making use a lot of that in the game, and some players were annoyed by that. I didn't want people solving this puzzle by accident, so my reasoning was, okay, they adventure players will open all the drawers, they will look at every damn thing in the game, they will realize about this. I didn't take into account people that did not play adventure games and may have, and many in fact did miss that photograph and thought this was a totally unfair puzzle and a pixel hunt, even because you need to click in the opening of the base to find the key. One of my biggest regrets with adventure games is how interfaces have become simplified over time. You know, I miss the old days of the parser and even SCUM, where you just needed to create verbs and interact in the environment in meaningful ways. I needed to surrender to that new paradigm in adventure games and simplify the interface. But what I wanted to replicate with this puzzle in particular was the old possibility in text adventures that they gave you the chance to interact with objects in different ways. So right, typically you just, when you see the magnifying glass, you can look at something, but in text adventures you can look inside an object, behind an object, move that object. So this this particular puzzle here was about looking inside the base. It was meant to replicate that classic way of interacting with objects. It's definitely a flawed puzzle. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I wanted to talk specifically about it because a lot of Scratches is about that. It's about interacting with the environment in different ways, ways that may be atypical for first-person games even. In fact, about that, I'm talking too much, I think. Some players were annoyed that Scratches felt like a third-person adventure because the protagonist gives too much feedback and speaks too much. So it was funny, you know, having fans of third-person adventures loving Scratches and fans of first-person games hating Scratches. That's one of the big ironies with this game. This is why I hate when people say, yeah, Scratch is just like Myst. No, it's nothing like Myst. Anyway, this is Eva Mariani's room. This picture is actually from a bridge in Rothbury, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to put it here to acknowledge to give it a better sense of a real life in the game. And Eva Mariani, in case you are wondering, is a name. It's a combined name from two friends from the old Just Adventure forum, Eva Forsum and Jessica Mariani. So it's my small tribute to them. Okay, mirrors. Yes, just to put to rest an old theory, an age-old theory. No, Michael is not a ghost. He's not a vampire either. Yes, we do have mirrors in the game, and we did not put the reflection because that was too expensive to make. Having an animated character here was just way too complex to do. And I also think it would have taken away some of the I don't know, strange feeling it gives you to play the game like this without seeing anyone, right? Scratches works well because you never see anyone in the game, and it gives you a better sense of isolation. I think even seeing you, a reflection of yourself, would have broke that feeling. Anyway, in Asylum we also have mirrors, but we are being careful to just making all of them either broken or too dirty, so we don't have to put the damn reflection on the mirror. So we have many clues here. Just the photograph to reinforce the feeling that a photographer lived in this room, and the bathroom with introduction, the same pictures from the introduction, and this bathroom has been used as some kind of dark room. Okay, let's make some progress in the game because I'm just wandering and not doing anything worthwhile. I have to grab the pencil here, and there should be the topmost sheet of paper had some curious markings. Here's a typical puzzle from detectives. When we use the pencil on the paper, we reveal a letter and in Italian. And this gives us a clue to speak with our assistant. Okay, funny reference here that no one has ever mentioned. One of the cans here actually is the cover of an album by a band called Can. The album is Eki Vamiasis, this one here. it's a great band of from the 70s. They did some crowd rock, and their album Future Days is one of the best progressive rock albums of all time. In fact, I think Key Day from Radiohead owes a lot to Future Days. So that's a really obscure reference no one has ever mentioned. Okay, Barbara does not answer the phone. This is what I mentioned about the really strange triggers happening all day, during the first day.
No, nothing.
Well, if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Oh, sorry. Goodbye.
All right. I forgot to do something really, really simple here, which is trying the lights. And here begins the chain of events of puzzles in the first day, when you need to when Jerry suggests you tasks to do.
Hello?
Jerry, it's me.
What's up, Michael?
Everything seems to be fine, except the lights don't work.
Oh, you don't have to worry. I forgot to tell you. I had an electrician, one that I trust, to meet you there this morning. You know how a lack of power can be a recurring issue in old places like that. He should be arriving soon.
That's good to know. I'll set up my stuff and let you know how everything does later.
Perfect.
Perfect. Have fun. Sure, I will have tons of fun. So let's go to the basement now. You know, lots of the things you see in the house, they are just the result of tons of research in Google, paintings, photographs, the marquees from the paintings, and we have thousands of pictures, blueprints from old houses, and the houses are fully architecturally correct. That's a feature we have been mentioning a lot in Asylum as well. Everything has been constructed from zero, from the ground, and it makes architectural sense, okay? And our first incursion in the basement. So again, credit goes to Vlad for creating truly an unsettling atmosphere in this place. I wasn't happy with this soundscape at first, you know. I wanted to have a more typical, you know, scary music melody here, but Vlad insisted on using this high-pitched sound becoming louder and louder to make players feel uneasy. And damn, it worked. It worked really well. People just couldn't spend too much time in this basement. Yeah, screw that basement. I know. More ads. We have so many of these that we didn't include in the game. See what Michael says? My mind could be playing tricks on me, but he thought about he may be listening to noises, distant noises. I did that in a few places in the narrative, and it seemed to have worked because people actually felt that they were listening to such distant noises. And I also did something similar in the attic. We're going to pay a visit now, mentioning that something was lurking in the shadows, and people thought they actually saw something in the shadows. Let's talk to Jerry again. Okay. You know, I don't actually remember the full sequence of events. There's Barbara.
They Productions? What in heaven's name was that?
Oh, hi, boss. I was just fooling around.
Well, don't. I don't want people thinking I'm some
Okay,
kind of studio.
this is just chit chat. So the nice story about Barbara. When
I told you it was going to be.
back in 2004, I was in the last days of Napster. Does anybody recall Napster? I was looking for the leaked tracks of the new album by Bark Psychosis. That's a really cool band from the 90s, from a British band. The term post-rock was first used to describe their second album called Hex. So anyway, I was looking for these tracks that I knew were leaked, and suddenly I find someone who seems to have almost the complete album, and it was like, this isn't possible. I mean, this isn't available yet. So I start talking with the guy, and turns out he's the husband of Sue Anderson, who used to sing in the band, and they were both friends with Graham Sutton, the founder of the band. This is how I get to know Sue Anderson, who did Barbara. We became good friends afterwards. I actually became a friend of Graham Sutton, who I met personally while he lived in Buenos Aires a bunch of years ago. So there's a nice anecdote about Scratches, Bark Psychosis, and Barbara. Okay, let's ask Barbara a favor now. Alright, Napster still exists, it's even legal now, yeah.
Hello?
Hey, it's me, Bobby dear. I need to ask you a favor.
Bring it on.
I found a letter here, and I'm curious about it. It's in Italian. Do you think you could translate it for me?
My, Mr. Athwaite, are we being naughty?
Mrs. Styles.
Yes, of course I can. Just send me the letter and I'll put hands to work as soon as I have it here.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I wonder if the postman will come by. I feel like I'm the last person alive on the whole planet here.
Well, have you told the post office in Roxbury that you're moving to Blackwood Manor?
Yes, Jerry did. I just hope they don't forget about me, that's all. In any case, thank you. You're such a dear.
That's what I'm here for.
I really love
That's what I'm paying you
the
for.
work John Bell did
Anyway, I'll
with
go and
Michael.
find Maid in that letter.
He can be really charming.
Thanks.
So, important things we're going to do here, and I'm going to tell you about the journals. I recently did an interview with Troels Playmart from the Space Quest Historian. The interview will appear in a few days, I think, and I talk a bit about Scratches. He asked me about the non-linear storytelling in the game, and how everything was put together. I mean, how to make sure that when people reads or sees something, it doesn't feel out of place. Simply put, I designed most of these journals like as a self-contained stories. So this is, as we're going to learn, Christopher Milton's journal. It just tells a story about a man who became a sort of caretaker of this Blackwood Manor. He's guarding a secret. We don't know what that is, and he can't take this any longer. He's just suffering too much with this, with the circumstances in his life, and he becomes increasingly erratic with his writing. And at the end, it just seems like he's going to leave the house, and that's all there is to it, to this journal. This, like Michael says, it disturbs you in some way, but you don't know why or how. the idea here is that the more you learn about the story, the more you begin piecing the pieces together, and everything starts making sense. So these journals by themselves tell an interesting story, maybe, but the moment you put everything together, you begin to see the whole picture and what really may have happened in this house. Okay, of all the writing in the game, this is the one I'm most happy with. James Blackwood journal. I think it's the longest one as well. It was rather risky to have such a long piece of reading material in the game. But again, it was an adventure game. People are supposed to read. If you don't like to read, don't play my games. But I think most fans really enjoyed this journal, and it tells a lot. Tells a story of James, an engineer working in South Africa. This aspect of the story was influenced by a movie called The Ghost and the Darkness. It's a movie I like very, very much. It also featured an Englishman constructing a bridge in Africa, and that's how it became part of Scratches. So it's definitely Lovecraftian in style, as James begins telling us about his increasing obsession about African art and a nearby tribe who seems to be performing some strange dark rituals. So the journal concludes with James Blackwood, in spite of the locals encouraging him to leave the tribe alone, he goes with an expedition into the forest to witness this ritual, and what he sees is truly disturbing and disgusting. But a mask fascinates him, and he becomes so obsessed with that mask that he decides to take it, right? So anyway, that journal, the material was incredible, and here is how, when Michael begins become upset himself about the story that transpired in the Blackwood Manor and the inhabitants in this place. I always wanted to have that like dual thing occurring between Michael and James Blackwood, how they go through a similar obsession with their own things. And we should grab a letter here. This is locked. Oh, about the story in South Africa. This won't ever happen, but at one point I had the concept to do a prequel to Scratches that would have taken place in South Africa. You know, sort of the concept was to do a complete turn, you know, and sort of like a key day thing, do a completely different game, like shatter all the expectations and make it more adventure and not horror at all. This concept would have had Patterson, who is mentioned here in the journal, the protagonist, and John Patterson would have dealt with the aftermath of in the construction, in the camp and the village and the nearby village, after James steals the mask. Needless to say, the Dalmar aren't very happy. Okay, so that was another interesting piece of trivia. No, I really don't feel like doing a sequel or prequel to Scratches anyway. We put the letter here, the address, and I think that's it. Let's go outside again, and you'll notice how the sky is a bit clearer. In a few moments it will be completely morning. So this is probably a flaw in the game. The door, I mean, you never hear the door opening, so the postman has to get inside, right? So the idea is that the post box would be close enough to the door so that the arm, the postman could have, could use his arm to grab the mail. But we just decided to leave the door open, and just in order to avoid explanations. Okay, and here we miss the electrician. And that takes care of that. And now it's completely morning. So this is the sort of sky that you see in the first edition of Scratches. I will admit that the reddish sky is not. It wasn't very convincing. But like I said, I really wanted to have the changes in weather. I think they give a really nice notion of time passing by. Okay, so now Jerry, we know about the electrician. Jerry will suggest we look for candles.
Carter Properties.
Jerry, we have a problem.
What happened?
The electrician missed me.
Someone is recommending Session 9. It's a horror movie, and it's actually one of the movies that inspired Asylum. I strongly recommend that movie as well. It's a really good, one of the last great horror movies in my opinion.
Jerry, all the fuses seem to be fine. I think the problem might be a little more...
Since we checked the fuses, Michael mentions that in the
What do
conversation,
we do now?
Go get some candles.
You're joking, right?
and
I'm not. I'm calling this guy right
this
away.
is the worst
I'm afraid
puzzle
he won't be
in the
able to
game,
stop by until
looking
tomorrow.
for candles.
He's already driving there today as a personal favour.
There must be something you can do. I don't feel comfortable walking around this place with dim lights. I barely know it.
Michael, come on. Where's your sense of adventure? It would be like you were living in a past century. Exquisite Victorian house, lit by candles. What I wouldn't give to be in your place.
I left my sense of adventuring back in London, thanks. I have work to do.
Then do it. What
I
else
didn't
do you
I didn't
ask?
know this
Now you have
when
to
I devised the story.
Serious pieces.
The movie is called Session 9. It's in the comments of the chat.
Don't worry. Make sure you find some candles.
It is true, many writers struggle with their sophomore effort, especially after the first one was a success. So apparently the second book, it's very difficult and stressful, and come think of it, that's exactly what we are living through with Asylum. So I guess it also applies to games. So anyway, the candles. This is a really lousy puzzle. The idea, again, because I designed the game for adventure game players, I figured they would open all the drawers in the game, but Scratches transcended the adventure game genre, and we have many newcomers. In fact, one of the biggest fans of the game did not play adventure games at all. And many of them were well annoyed by this puzzle because you don't know exactly where to look. I mean, for candles. So you only need to open 3 drawers. This one, one in the attic. And one in the kitchen. So since we're here, we're just going to open it. And come think of it, okay, no candles here. I need to grab this knife because, I don't know, I always want to carry sharp knives with me. You never know when you will need to use one. So again, there was a reasoning. I mean, I wanted to have people walking around the house and visiting the important locations. So this is why I pushed you to the attic. Wow, I had completely forgotten about this node. I thought the stairs lead directly into the attic. But again, if we needed this strange turn, it's because it made sense spatially. And that's another bug. Sorry, the Director's Cut edition it's a bit bugged. That video was out of place. It had the wrong texture in the walls. So anyway, quite a leap in graphic quality since the original teaser. And we should have a I decided to stop looking for candles. I think this is present in this line is present in the Director's Cut edition. In the first one, Michael never tells you that he needs to stop looking for candles, so it was even more unforgiving. Okay. This is crucial. This is like the biggest mystery of Scratches, and I'm going to explain it right now. What the heck is the deal with the meat packers with this receipt? Okay. So I can't. I forgot about this game already. So clearly I needed to do something else before reading the main article about the murder of Mrs. Blackwood. So anyway, while in the attic, you were supposed to hear a truck parking outside. Okay. That truck never made it. That sequence never made it into the final game because the publisher was rushing us at the door, and my intention in the Director's Cut edition was to include it in the game, but the publisher also rushed us out the door, so that sequence never made it into the game. The idea is that you hear a truck parking outside, you rush outside the door, see if you can spot who is it, and the moment you leave the house you hear the truck leaving already, so you never knew what happened with that. So I'm going to reveal what's the reason behind that truck that you never saw, and that receipt upstairs when we finish the game. I am writing the novel of Scratches now. It's going to take a while, so don't get yourself excited about it. And the first thing I did was write the dumb truck sequence that never made it into the game. So anyway,
Yes?
Jerry, I'm freaking out. I couldn't find a single candle inside this place.
You're kidding me. I can't believe it. Did you look well?
Yes, every single room, drawer, box, cabinet, nothing. No candles.
Alright, listen. The town isn't too far away. No more than 20 minutes drive. If you can't find some candles there, I'll eat my hat.
You'll eat your whole closet. This is getting on my nerves.
Come on, it's just a quick ride. You know how to get there?
Yeah, I saw it on my way here. Did you call Mr. Busy Electrician who couldn't hold on for just 5 more minutes?
Yes, he'll be doing me another special favour, and we'll be going there tomorrow afternoon. It's the best he can do. You have to bear in mind it's Sunday.
Yeah,
Of course.
I don't care. I have no power.
I
I'll give
don't
you
really know
myself if it
when the
gets a job.
Scratches novel will be finished.
Drive to
All
the
I
factory
can tell you,
and
it's
you won't be able to
I
find
have
your
the
way back
project
Yeah,
laid
I
out
had to buy some
in
food.
Scrivener. It's a
There you
great
go. Godspeed.
tool.
Drive safe.
I just have a small target of words per day. I want to, put in the novel. So I don't know. Definitely after Asylum, we have enough on our plate with Asylum right now. But yes, there will be a Scratches novel, and it will make a lot of emphasis on the James Blackwood story and his perspective. Since I mean, you already know about Michael's perspective, so I'm going to tell you more about Blackwood's perspective. Right. What? Okay. Okay, so car's out of battery. Damn, Michael left the lights on. We have the reddish sky again, so it's getting darker. We're getting to the end of the first day, and it is really a series of accidents the whole first day. A bit contrived, but kind of worked. I don't know. It's almost comical in a way. The program is called Scrivener.
Michael.
Jerry, you won't believe this. It's insane. My car is dead.
What? Are you sure? Have you checked its pulse?
I'm
Oh, Jerry, you're such a joker.
My friend, this completely redefines the term suspension of disbelief you sometimes use for your stories.
Yeah, Jonathan had the best lines in.
I forgot the lights
whole
on
game.
The car ran out of
He can get really
all because
really
of that
funny.
Bloody fog. Jerry, you've got to help me. Get over here.
Michael, look at the time. I can't drive to Northumberland right now.
But Jerry, I can't spend the whole night without one single source of light. I barely know this place, and I won't be able to find my way. Heck, I don't even know if it's rid of ghosts yet.
Are you a sleepwalker, Michael? You lie down on the bed, you sleep, you wake up, and you'll have tons of bright light then.
That's not
Seriously, Michael, you wanted to go to the faraway house in the middle of nowhere, so
It's not my fault.
deal with it.
I missed you for a few minutes. There aren't any candles in a 3-story mansion, and your car's battery was low.
Okay,
This is
okay,
not
listen.
your day, Michael.
When will you be
Definitely
coming
not
back
your
tomorrow?
day.
I'll be arriving home early tomorrow morning, and I'll come for you shortly after. We'll drive to town, stop yourself up, and then spend the rest of the day in your garden, drinking some beers while we wait for Mr. Electrician. Sounds like a plan?
Yeah, I guess. I don't think there's any plan B either.
I'm afraid not.
I might make a spin-off game though, called Better Call Jerry.
But I guess sometimes things are just meant to go wrong.
Apparently.
Jerry.
All right, I'll be on my way then.
Call me back if you need anything.
He doesn't do much, Jerry, anyway. I mean, he's just a
Don't let this
pain in
situation
the
get
ass.
on your nerves.
I promise it won't. Goodbye.
Okay. So wait a second. I am missing something. The newspaper. Um. Asylum you can click on the hall doors to enter locations, because it was pretty annoying to move the cursor over the handle. Crap, I can't recall the specific date. See, this is what I was talking about, all these triggers. It's really not very good design. I am definitely happier with the second day of the game, though. I think it works much better, considerably better. So the date. Let's go to the maid's room again. As you can see, the house is also getting darker, so the daytime effect affects the whole locations, not just the clouds. Book about photography. No. Someone is mentioning that it's sometimes it's pitch black when you look up the stairs. Actually, I think that's a problem. We didn't render the upper room, so yeah. Crap! What am I missing? I'm missing something here. I forgot how to complete my own game. Damn. There's something else I should have read, and I don't recall what. No. Let's... If anyone remembers what you needed to learn before looking for the newspaper in the attic, please let me know. This is Milton again, who spent his days in this room. He could not get himself to sleep on the main bedroom. Yes, I do need a walkthrough now. Unless maybe I hit a bug, because I have to be able to look at the newspaper upstairs. Damn. You know, actually, I think you may be right. I didn't enter the gallery yet, and maybe it's... it's the last thing we need to do. Just read the newspaper about the murder, and that's it. Okay, whew, this location. And Blood did something really cool there, just playing some really faint drums and screams. Here's the letter from the museum. The same that appears in the first teaser. And the drums keep going. Maybe that's the date that was missing. Let's check out the main bedroom just in case. Nothing here of importance. Well, here's another infamous puzzle of the game. Just if you go look at this painting, you'll notice something weird here, and it is very unforgiving. The idea was that since you can explore all the paintings in the game, you will figure out that at least one of them conceals something, and because this is the main bedroom, there's a strong chance that there's a safe or something hidden somewhere, and that was the reasoning behind this painting. Okay, let's try again with the attic. Where do I get the date? I can't believe it. I swear to you, I don't recall where do you get the date. So weird. I mean, we should know enough right now to look for a date. Maybe one last call to Jerry or Barbara? If all fails, call Jerry. Yep. This is what I mean. This is just the bottom location. The bottom room is missing. That's why it's so pitch dark and scary. But hey, it was a happy accident.
Jerry, it's me.
What's up, Michael?
Ah. Okay. now I know what happened.
I found a safe
I was
in the room upstairs.
playing the game in
Would you happen to
such a
know
perfect
the-
order of events that I never got to this conversation with Jerry.
But I don't have it here right now. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Okay?
Great, thanks.
Okay, so tomorrow we get the combination with the combination to the safe, and okay, now
Hello?
Jerry, it's
we
me.
ask about the previous inhabitants.
Do you know anything about the previous...
This question is only enabled after Michael reads both journals.
There's also
Okay,
murder.
Milton's
You're kidding
and,
me. A
and
murder?
Blackwood's.
An old-fashioned murder. You'd probably love the details, but sadly I don't know very much. It's old history, really. Although it caused quite a stir there in Rothbury. It seems the owner, James Blackwood, I think, went
J.
mad and
Blackwood.
killed his wife. I do remember the date, though. May 1963.
James Blackwood, according to the stuff I've been reading.
So you're already turning the place upside down? I should have thought so.
There's enough material for a whole series of stories here, you know.
After you finish your book, my friend.
Yeah. But it can never hurt poking around a little.
Would you just get back to work? Call me if you need anything.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay. Now we can read the newspaper and go to sleep. It's really, I publicly admit this is not good game design. Okay, it wasn't executed well. At least more hints were needed. And okay, I think it's the exact same text that appears in the first teaser, and here we learn about the main plot device, the assassination, or the murder of Catherine Blackwood by James, and the biggest puzzle in the game may be the supposedly grave of Mrs. Blackwood, which is actually the first puzzle I designed for the game. It almost came immediately at the same time as the story. It's the first one, and we're going to talk about it later when we solve it. It's definitely the most difficult puzzle of the whole game. And I think we should be able to go to bed now. Maybe Michael will start complaining about it in a few moments. It was getting late. Yay! And that's it. I have to admit, this is quite creepy. This is quite creepy. I mean, we definitely pulled this scary environment in the dream sequence and night sequences. You should realize this is a dream because the screen is slowly, the camera angle is shifting, and was very subtle. And notice the sound work as we leave the room. The echoes become more. They become louder, and they reverberate across the room accordingly. I think that was Vlad's work. It sounds just very right, too unsettlingly right, and. This is I should have look at this picture earlier, because when it's daytime he has a sad face, and here he's smiling, or her, yeah. Notice the windows outside. They are also... We have fog. And we have a similar effect in Asylum. It looks even better. The hammering stops, and oh, we see a door. And the dream ends. And someone says, Michael, my God. And now it gets even worse. Oh, those scratches. Suddenly the noises seem to grow louder. This is why we approach the fireplace, and the idea is that you realize that maybe they are coming from the fireplace, but because you're in the second floor, maybe they are coming lower, from below. So again, masterful work by Vlad. This soundscape is very effective. It kind of reverberates across the whole house. It's really spooky atmosphere. And the idea of the puzzle is just figuring out that there's something coming. They had to be coming from below. That's it. And if you paid attention, the clock, the time passed here, so it's now 1 a.m. And you wake up at exactly 12 a.m. So that's our cue to, you know, just let it go for now. Nothing else will happen. And we go back to bed. Magic moments. So here's my suggestion, because we already, it's like 2 hours already, and I wanted to split the stream in two at least. So we're going to finish the first day now. We also got to play two teasers, so that's a lot of time. I think tomorrow I can complete the whole game. So if everybody agrees, I'm going to come back at 6 UTC, the same time as today, and by now we should have completed the game with more comments and interesting things to discuss. I went back to bed. And anyway, my son is about to arrive any moment now, and he turns the house into a complete battlefield, and probably not the right environment for a live stream. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we're going to get into the really interesting, the most revealing aspects of the game, and get ready, because I'm going to talk about things that were never discussed before. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm going to stick around a bit more in the chat session. So see you again tomorrow. Let me know if there's anything that could be improved. You know, I am a totally newbie on this. Bye.